we have a middleweight main event between two top 15 middleweights. Number 8, Roman Dolidze versus number 11, Nassourdine Imavov. Let us first look at Roman Dolidze, boys, who hasn't fought since March of last year, where he lost a 3-round unanimous decision to Marvin Vettori. He had a couple fights canceled last year as he was scheduled to face Derek Brunson, who then left the UFC, and was then scheduled to face Jared Cannonier in December, who tore his ACL in the lead up to that fight. So kind of like just had a bit of a rough run of luck there for Roman Dolidze in terms of opponents falling out. Before that loss to Vettori, though, Dolidze was on a 4-fight win streak and currently holds a 6-2 record in the UFC. His opponent, the French Dagi Nassourdine Imavov, comes in on a bit of a tough 2023. He kicked off last year by losing to Sean Strickland in January, and then in July he faced Strickland's teammate Chris Curtis, where the fight was canceled or called off, due to a no contest after an accidental clash of heads left Curtis unable to see or continue the fight. Prior to his shortcomings in 2023, though, he was riding a 3-fight win streak and starting to kind of look like a future contender, and I think that's kind of the story here. For both guys coming into this, is they both are looking to get back into the win column and kind of start a new run here to the title, maybe looking to get into that, kind of top 5 range, for a next future opponent. But we will begin our picks here with Brandon, who, it is worth mentioning, through 3 weeks has yet to be able to claw his way out of a negative deficit. So with that, Brandon, who you got?
I got Roman Dolidze in this fight. And it wasn't easy coming to this decision, like I was telling you earlier, Nate. Like between this and the co-main, I spent a lot of time kind of racking my brain of where I lean. And there's not a super ton separating these two. I mean, I think that Roman to me, I think has a slight edge on the ground, I'd say. I'm not specifically talking about wrestling. I'm saying on the ground. And I think on the feet, man, you'd have to go with Nassourdine in my opinion. But overall, I'm going to take Roman. I just think that his ability, he lost that fight with Vettori, and he shot, I think, 1 time. I think he had 1 takedown attempt in that fight. He ended up losing the stand-up to Vettori. I think if he gets back to his grappling ways in this fight, he is completely capable of winning this fight over Imavov. So I'm going to take Roman Dolidze here. I'm going to say unanimous decision because I don't think either of these guys is going to finish the other, to be honest. But he has to get it to the ground. If it stays on the feet, I think Nassourdine's going to probably take it. So I'm going to take Roman Dolidze. I'll say unanimous decision.
Already. Yeah, I agree, man. We were just talking about it. This was a really hard fight for me to pick for because I just think these guys match up so well against each other. It's going to be very interesting to see whose style kind of wins out here. And I will be honest, I'm not extremely confident in either direction. I mean, I just have to put that out there. But also something I didn't mention in the rundown that I will add is Dolidze will be Imavov's 3rd consecutive Extreme Couture opponent, obviously having fought Strickland and Curtis back-to-back. And Dolidze does train at least part-time at Extreme Couture as well. So that is something to look at because, I do think, though all 3 men are very different fighters, it's a huge asset to Dolidze to train with guys and coaches who are at this point very familiar, with Imavov. But for my pick, I think I'm actually going to go the other way, and I'm going to choose Nassourdine Imavov to get it done, and for many reasons. One being, I don't think Dolidze's striking is diverse enough to beat a guy as technical and on the level as Imavov. Dolidze does his best work when he's kind of charging forward, throwing bombs, but he tends to be a bit of a headhunter, and I just think he doesn't mix it up enough for me to really threaten a guy like Imavov, who I think to beat, you do need to come forward, kind of keep him on his heels like Strickland did, but you just have to mix it up and go to the body and use leg kicks and things. And, remember Strickland was kind of like teeping at his body there a little bit, quite a bit, and I think you need those kind of like mixing it up. Now, I did see Dolidze working some Muay Thai on his IG, so it will be interesting to see if he shows off some kind of new weapons in there, maybe from that Vettori fight, realize that was something that needed fixed, but we just haven't seen it through his UFC career. I'm also looking at the fact Dolidze has never been 5 rounds. And Imavov did go 5 rounds against Strickland. It wasn't the prettiest, but he got through it and he got that experience. And you can see from that fight how tough that can be on a guy who's never been there before because he was pretty tired by the end of that Strickland fight. And I think lastly, just neither of these guys has been finished on the feet, which is where I see this fight playing out and probably has the best chance to be finished for both guys. But I could honestly just see a 5-round kind of chess match here. And I just think based off kind of what we've seen, I'd have to give Imavov the advantage in a fight like that. So I do like it to go to a unanimous decision. And as I said, I will take Nassourdine Imavov to get that done.
Yeah, man, this is an interesting fight. I think that you kind of have to lean into a little bit of, a couple previous fights to kind of really, with the Marvin Vettori, nobody knocks out Marvin Vettori. So it didn't matter how much all the top class guys in the division haven't been able to figure that out.
Yeah.
And when that's a problem, and like you said, when you are a headhunter and you can't knock somebody out, it makes it really difficult unless you're constantly just dribbling their head over and over. Mm-hmm. And Marvin Vettori was able to get a lot of his own striking off as well. And I do agree. I think that Nassourdine is a class ahead of Marvin Vettori with his striking, and he should find some of those same openings. With Roman, I kind of lean toward like the Hermansson fight as well, as his ability to control, his creativity to control. At one point, having like a calf slicer and working.
Yeah, he got to the back through that calf slicer. Dolidze has some really good jiu-jitsu, and he's really good off of his back as well. I think he hit it was either in that fight or he's done in other ones. He's kind of done like a pendulum sweep.
He was in that fight.
Yeah, dude, that's not easy to do in jiu-jitsu. I couldn't imagine doing it in mixed martial arts, where you can't hold on to gloves, right? Like that's illegal.
Right.
So really controlling that wrist, man. Yeah, that can't be easy to do.
And I think that, I think the UFC's kind of showed their hand a little bit about how they feel about Roman for these people who they have tried to book him with, and it hasn't. Yeah. I think they took from that Vettori fight that, maybe a less durable guy goes out with some of those things. And obviously with Nassourdine having the experience against Strickland, who was previously the champ and is really great as well. I think that they're about the same in so many areas, but I do like Roman's ability on the ground to create really great scrambles and control opportunities. I do like the unanimous decision pick, but I'm going to take Roman Dolidze by 3rd round sub. I think he can get crafty. He's definitely going to have to, shoot more like, Brandon had said, and kind of utilize maybe some more clinch and cage work. But I do think that he's very creative down there. And I think that although Nassourdine's only been submitted once, I think that Roman Dolidze could do that as well.